What are you going to see on Sunday?
The Macbeth.
Oh, right, cool.
Is it out? All his scary things in my mind. That's what he says.
In my mind.
That's how he talks.
Does Michael Fassbender put on a Scottish accent in the
Yeah.
trailer?
Aye.
Yeah.
It's all fucked up in here, guys.
But it is Shakespearean English. It's
Yeah.
not, oh my head.
Well, because it's meant to be in Dunkeld.
Yeah, it's like spiders and stuff.
Speeders.
Knives are all in my mind. Oh, he's taking some pills. And
Is
it's
that-
really bad.
It's like Limmy.
Yeah.
Limmy's Macbeth.
Oh, that would be terrific.
Oh man, I wish
Six.
we'd save that for the show.
And it says Marianne Quattro or whatever her name is.
Quattro.
Marianne Quantro. She's just drunk all the time.
And she slipped him some MDMA.
No, because
off his face.
does that not make you love everything? I don't think he'd be. Or is he just hugging everyone to
Oh.
death?
Hello everyone and welcome to episode 16 of Splitting Pixels. It is myself, Ross, with Matt and Alice today. Sophia is on a family holiday down south and will hopefully be joining us for the next episode again. I want to start this episode off with, it's a bit of a surprise question, but it's something that's been on my mind. So, because I've been doing a lot of kind of game design documents and things as part of my course, I've been thinking about the game that I would want to make if I had the team and I had the money and I had the time to do it. Like, basically, you know how they say everyone's got a novel in them?
Mm-hmm.
Basically the same idea for a game. Like, do you have a dream game to make? I was wondering if, because I'm guessing it's probably not just me. I'm guessing you've probably thought, oh, it'd be really cool to take the mechanics from, say, this game and like mash it with another game, or
Well, I have personally 3 games that, well, 2 are just, they've got strange names, and I would like to think of. I think there's a 4th one actually, Giant Foot,
no. What?
but that's well, kind of like Terry Gillingham's.
surely
animation.
you'd be better suited to making giant hands.
That's a personal joke there. No, like Terry Gilliam's animations, you know, you'd have
Yeah,
some
from Monty
Monty
Python.
Python things and a foot would come down and squish stuff. Like just a fun romp with a giant foot.
I'll be honest, I'm just picturing like an iPhone app where you
Squishing things.
you literally just push the button and a foot comes
But
down.
that's the thing, that's the fun part of it. There's another 2, one was called FPS Chess, but that's not, it's not actually
Do you
first
play
person.
as the chess
No,
piece?
no, it was more planning out moves and things like this with a web of like all your team characters are joined somehow. It did really early thoughts on it.
Okay.
And another one I forget. And I always want to make a 2D game because that's my favourite style of game, like a platformer, I should say. But I actually have a premise for that.
We had spoken a little bit about that. I wasn't-
Personally, yeah, I need your help with that because I can make it, you can write it. So
That sounds cool.
yeah,
Like, you want to keep it off the podcast, or
I kind of do. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the thing. I've got ideas, yeah, but I'm not going to share them yet.
well, maybe one day be able to come back to that. That would be pretty cool.
That'd be really nice, yeah.
What about yourself, Alice?
Well, the only thing I can think of is really unimaginative.
Okay,
So,
so working for EA.
no, I just like I would want to make the game that Fable was meant to be,
Okay,
like where shit grows, like as you play and stuff like that.
so would it still have the massive jumps between, like, because with Fable it was always you disappear for 15 years and come back. Would it be a more gradual growth?
That was only in Fable 3.
Right. Okay.
In Fable 1, you age a little bit every time you go into the portal to add experience points.
Right. Okay.
So you'd age that way. But like the original was supposed to have trees that would start off small, like when you're a kid, and then would grow
That's
as
awesome.
you played it, and you know, like shit like that. and with a character creator, because fuck playing as a man
Did
in
you-
every game.
Did you play Ocarina of Time?
No,
Okay.
I don't
Wow.
really Zelda. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't really either. I don't really either.
Nintendo or anything.
Well, for the most part, I don't either. There's a few franchises that I really like Nintendo wise, but Zelda is definitely the one that really speaks to me. But Ocarina's the first Zelda I can remember playing, and it's the only one I can remember completing.
But I'm a graphics whore as well, so
Well, that's fair enough, I suppose.
I've played a bit of Twilight Princess because
Okay.
one of the girls that I babysat had that, and then she was like, "Oh hey, you should try this." So I tried it, and then she was like, "You're doing it wrong," and I was like, "You're like 7, go away."
I'm just picturing you. No, you're doing it wrong. Go to bed. It's
Let me
only
play
7.
games.
I said go to bed.
I want to play games.
I just imagine you babysitting just like this kid's like huffing in their bedroom.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah.
Well, that's why I don't play Mario Kart, is because I got my ass kicked by children. I'm too ashamed. I can't do that to myself anymore.
It's funny. Like Cara, my partner grew up playing video games because her older brother is a gamer as well, and she played a lot of Mario Kart, and then I got Mario Kart for the Wii last year, and I managed to convince her to sit down with me for an evening and play Mario Kart. And she can be quite an angry person, but oh my, I was not prepared for the just basic road rage that comes out of her mouth, like the stuff she says,
Wow.
all directed at like Princess Peach, and it's really funny. In fact, no, it's Wario. She hates Wario.
See, I'm amazing at
It's
Crash
quite funny.
Team Racing.
Crash Team Racing is awesome.
Yeah.
Matt, I think we've expressed how much better than Mario Kart 64 Crash Team Racing was,
Possibly.
but I think
It was the best.
It
And
was-
I'm really good at that. I just can't Mario Kart.
If we're going to talk in that generation, Diddy Kong Racing, you had hovercrafts, planes, and cars.
Mhm.
That was pretty badass.
I think there is a kind of like an evolution of that at the moment, which was, well, I say at the moment, it's a couple of years old now, but it was the Sega Racers, and it had like just a bunch of classic Sega characters, and it's all the settings are from different like Sega games.
I don't remember this.
Yeah, it was really cool, and apparently mechanically it's very sound, but it also has things like cars that turn into boats, that turn into planes,
Okay.
things like that. Well, so you want basically a more developed version of Fable?
I want.
Is
I
it
want
the
a
world?
game that's actually a Molyneux.
A Molyneux game, like a promise.
Yeah, I want something that extravagant
That's
to
what-
actually be a
Will
thing.
it ever happen?
No.
That's what you could call it. A promise fulfilled.
Yeah.
That's kind of nice. You could
In
take
brackets,
that somewhere.
in brackets, you're welcome.
That's
Hyphen. Fuck you, Mom.
It's got like 8 dogs in it.
No, I don't like the dogs though.
That's like the only bit of Fable that I can really remember.
But again, they didn't have one in the first one.
No,
And in the second and third one, I just felt really bad because it kept getting hurt.
I guess. God, Fallout could be really traumatic, couldn't it? Oh dear.
Is there going to be a game where you're just trying to protect?
I
A
don't,
dog.
I don't
Loved
think the
one.
dog can die in Fallout 4.
It can't die during the course of gameplay,
Oh, no.
which is what makes me think, like, no one's
It's
safe.
gonna pull a Fallout Fable 3. Then.
Yeah, no one's safe in the Fallout universe.
You leave your house for 4 years and you expect him to be alive when you return?
Well, that's the thing, yeah, he's... Yeah.
I'll just wait in this bunker with no food.
To be honest, like, weirder, creepier things have happened to dogs in the Fallout universe.
What if you leave it too long and then you come back and you find out that your dog's managed to learn how to say Gary?
That would be... yeah, that's a little bit inside baseball for people who maybe aren't big fans of Fallout.
Gary.
Yeah. In the middle of the wasteland, there is one vault that is just populated by deranged clones
Of Gary.
of Gary.
I know.
who say
and
Gary.
and that's all they say is Gary, and
they
they're
don't
all
like you
psychopaths.
because you're not Gary.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah.
So you have to kill them all.
You don't have to, but
Alice did.
Yes.
yeah.
I know Matt. He has to.
I'm really looking forward to basically. I know this isn't the Fallout podcast, but that's one of the things I'm really excited about is finding. Basically, these vaults were put there. Some were there to keep people safe. Most of them are there, like they were the controls, and then the other vaults are all specific experiments. So there's a specific set of circumstances that comes up in each vault. Like one is, there's like maybe 400 women and one man. Like that
Which
was
went how you would expect.
yeah.
It's not. Don't make that face.
It's not good.
Oh no.
One of my favourite ones, and it was actually covered. Penny Arcade did a comic strip of it. Is when a man is locked in a vault with a cardboard box and a puppet of Vault Boy. It's amazing, and it's just him going deranged and the puppet telling him to do things. It's very, very cool, and it is actually referenced in Fallout 3.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because basically you find in one of the slaver camps you find a jumpsuit from that vault, and it's got like a note on it. It's like, I would not touch this. This thing freaks me the hell out. I'm pretty sure it's cursed. It's really cool.
Grand.
So yeah, for myself, I've actually kind of been putting a little bit of work into an idea that I'm not sure if I'm going to do it as a game or maybe it could work as like a comic book or a novel. So I think I might get myself started on the writing path with maybe this idea. It's basically it's like cyberpunk noir, which I've looked around for. It's hard to find stuff like that. Cyberpunk and kind of that post-apocalyptic feeling has had a big resurgence in games recently. I mean, Mad Max as well has really brought that kind of setting back to Hollywood too. I'd be quite surprised if there wasn't more like post-apocalyptic, middle of the desert type films.
Yeah. I don't see that
coming.
As steampunk or
No, cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah, no. Well, the post-apocalyptic thing comes in later, but it's basically like a noir detective story set in a cyberpunk universe.
Okay.
It's all about kind of how the two ideas merge. But then I was thinking of having the game mechanics being a little bit like Mass Effect, and that it's like a third-person sci-fi action game, but with quite a heavy dialogue kind of focus, which is why I think it could work really well as maybe a comic book or a novel.
A great way to start. Set your scene.
Mm-hmm.
Get the world fleshed out in your mind.
Yeah. It's weird. Like I don't know if it's. I figure I'm probably not the only person who has this idea that they always have in the back of their head, and maybe they're reading a book or watching a film, and they see like an idea, and they're like, "Oh, that could really work in the world that I've been thinking of in my head." You kind of adapt things like that. It's weird to see how ideas can form and mutate.
Yeah, absolutely. Even when you guys brought up Zelda there,
Mm-hmm.
the 64, it's that and Mario. Even though I'm thinking of platformers, those two games, Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time, are the kind of two that inspire me more. But I want to set it in a 2D thing to go back to mind. I just had to add that because
Is it the sense of exploration? Is that
I don't
the
know.
major factor?
I just remember having the most fun. I'm not trying to tell a message like why I can't wait to get my own copy of Mario Maker, because I just want to make fun classic Nintendo levels, not crazy things, just an enjoyable A to B experience. So it doesn't really have to be story as such. Well, no, there's always a story binding it together, but that's not the drawing path. But sorry, carry on.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
There's a 2D game on Steam that you've reminded me about, which I think you would like, but I can't remember the name of it. So yeah.
Show notes.
Can you describe it?
It's not really, because like it relies on not being spoiled.
Okay.
But it's supposed to be a very good story. It's on my wish list, so I can put it in the notes.
Absolutely do. Look it up
But
yourself.
everyone's been raving about it and trying not to talk about it at the same time.
So it's a 2D platformer.
I don't know if it's platformer, but it's definitely 2D and 8-bit and stuff like that.
All right,
But
okay.
it's a bit silly. Like there's a bit where that I've seen a GIF of like 100 times, where you're reduced to the symbol of a heart, and that's meant to be your soul or whatever, and you're stuck in a box, and then this flower that looks all happy and smiley and friendly says, "Okay, well, you know how to get better. I'm going to shoot you with happiness pellets," and all these bullets appear around the box. And you dodge them, obviously, because you're getting shot at. And then gradually the plant gets angrier and angrier and says, "You know what, fuck you." And it's just really weird and seems like it would be up your street.
Yeah, sounds good.
So I'll put that in the notes.
Cool.
So what? How would you? Oh, you said third person, kind of
Yeah.
exploring your world.
I guess the major in my head, because it's like as much money as you need, as much time as you need, and all the staff that you need, it would be like branching dialogue, like to the point where, much like in Fallout with a lot of the bosses, you can talk your way out of trouble, and decisions that you make early on will mean that some people might be on your side as opposed to opposing you, or might not even be there at all. And killing people can sometimes bring people like down on you, like looking for revenge.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas sometimes letting someone go, they might just turn around and be like, "Well, you let me go, what an idiot, I'm still going to try and kill him."
So a true open world,
Yeah.
real life experience.
Yeah. I mean, because that would be the major, like, that would be a major concern with if I was to try and like do an independent run at a game like that, is because when you have branching story, so many people are only going to see a third of what you develop.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very difficult to pick that kind of game, at least for your first game, because you know that a lot of your work won't be seen.
Must be tough.
Yeah.
You know, that's why you need to have a massive team.
Mm-hmm.
This is just making me excited for Dragon Age 4.
How so?
because of the way that like Inquisition ended with the Trespasser DLC and stuff like that, and it's just there's so much hype for this story.
Oh,
And
okay.
because each choice that you make in each game is obviously carried on to the next. So Inquisition, in the base game, you didn't see so much of that, but in Trespasser, like, there's a lot more. And obviously because you're only playing your game, you're not really that aware of what effect your choices have made.
Mm-hmm.
Like, someone else can have a completely different game because of the choices that they've made.
But how different?
Like,
Entirely different experiences.
well, the same base story, but there can be things missing and you can lose people because of that.
I like that. I like that your
Yeah.
companions and things, but that's the same with Mass Effect, isn't it?
Mhm.
You can lose companions.
Yeah.
Well, in Inquisition, without trying to go too much into it, there's someone you can romance who, depending on your choices, will still betray you and you'll have to kill them.
Wow.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, because I was like, really, like, my character was friends with this person, and I totally did not see that coming. And then it happened, and I was like, I really should have seen that coming.
Blinded by love.
No, well, it was just because the character was so well written, I think, is that it makes you think the opposite of what you should logically be thinking. It was really annoying.
Well, anyway, moving on from that topic point, I guess we'll get into the gaming news. A big one that we actually mentioned in a previous podcast is that Deus Ex, well, Square Enix have scrapped the augment your pre-order scheme that they were running for Deus Ex. It just shows you what happens when everyone gets behind the whole "are you serious?"
Yeah.
kind of message. Studios will eventually pay attention.
It's
To
not
give them
a
their due,
fucking
they paid it.
Kickstarter.
I respect that they tried something new.
Mhm.
It wasn't a good idea, and they listened to the community.
Mhm. I just wanted to bring that up in case anyone was curious about where that disappeared to, because I don't know, Square haven't made a big deal of publicising that they're scrapping it. So
Well, no, they haven't. But now it stands that anyone who pre-orders it gets the entire range and there'll be no 4-day early release if they get enough pre-orders.
Mhm.
So that's nice that they're making sure everybody
I
gets.
wish
their
they listened to people more often.
stuff.
Yeah,
It's been a
yeah,
while since I was excited about a Final Fantasy.
yeah. Well, the only Final Fantasy I think we're interested in is one that came out like. By the time it comes out, it'll be 20 years old.
Yeah.
Also, we know firsthand that the games are have to be the child of the designers, not the fans.
Yeah,
They don't often work just taking a route like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just
well, it's because it's so difficult getting one consistent voice from fans. Like, it's one thing to have a committee at work than it is to have 1,000 people who all want different things.
Yeah.
And the loudest are the ones that don't know
Yeah,
how to
often,
build a
often,
game.
yes.
It's just annoying me that the new one is a boys' club.
Oh wow!
The
really?
new what?
The new Final Fantasy.
Oh right, yeah, yeah. That is
And
it's
they
a very
haven't
strange
handled
setup.
that well at all.
No,
Because when people complained about it, they said, "Oh well, we didn't want to add girls because boys wouldn't act like themselves around women," and everyone was just collectively like, "Wait, what?"
and then they were just like, "Here's Sid. You can see her boobs."
"Yeah, Sid's a woman now, with her tits
Wow.
out."
I did not know anything
So
about that.
stupid.
Yeah.
So stupid.
Sid is one of the. I don't know if you've played many of the Final Fantasies, but
Nope, and I don't
Sid's
care
in
to.
like
there's
all of them.
a lot of tropes that carry through the games. Like, if they're sequential, like sometimes, like for things like 13-2 or whatever, that follows the same plot line, but all of them have been set in different universes, if you like.
Okay.
So Sid is one of the names that always carries through all the games. There's
That's not the
always
blonde guy with the big sword, is it?
that's Cloud.
Oh yeah, no, I knew that. Yeah.
Sid in Final Fantasy VII, Sid is he wanted to be an astronaut, but basically
Cool.
so
I like him.
his launch was spoiled and he wasn't able to do it. So he's been bitter like his whole life. And you get to kind of pick him up from there, and you eventually do take him into space, which is really cool.
Nice.
Well, in 10 and 10 Part 2, he's a pilot of a spaceship.
Hmm. And in 9 he's a
or an
frog.
airship.
He's a king who's been turned into a frog. And there's also a Biggs and Wedge in at least 7 and 8,
Yeah.
Awesome.
which is pretty cool. In
man.
8 they're like bumbling soldiers. They're kind of idiots. It's really funny.
And they aren't in 7?
No, it's just kind of sad.
Yeah,
They
it's
get
so sad.
they do kind of get crushed to death in
Yeah.
7. So
Oh,
That
very
was like
sad.
my first experience of heartbreak when I was a child.
yeah,
Not being able to save my friends.
yeah. Basically, an entire section of a city
Falls on them.
collapses.
Toshi Station.
Yes.
Because when I played that bit the first time, I was like rushing back to the town because I was like, no, they're going to be fine, right? They're going to be fine. I'm going to get home and they're going to be there. No, they're dead.
Yeah, and then you get out of the city, and the model for the city is literally a ring at the top with like a pizza slice falling out of it,
Yeah.
which is where the city part of the city is just dropped and crushed.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very sad. But yeah, moving on from Deus Ex. Just a quick one, Alice. I know you're a fan of Mirror's Edge. I know Sophia is as well. But just a little bit of news. Solar Fields have been brought on to do the music for Mirror's Edge 2. They did the music for Mirror's Edge 1, and it's kind of, I don't know how I would describe it. It is kind of dancey, but I don't even know how I would describe it.
I think it definitely suits the setting because it's
Mhm.
kind of,
It feels futuristic.
yeah,
I know that's a really weird thing to say,
it's
but
like really ambient,
yeah,
kind of futuristic.
with a lot of
music.
synthesizers.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Um,
Actually, I have played it, so I do know, but I've not played it that much, so
Right,
I don't
okay.
know where it goes.
Well, that's
In the
good. I'm
course of
glad
the
that
game.
they're keeping them.
yeah, it's not my style. Like, I was speaking to Alice about listening to the music from Hotline Miami.
Contextually good.
It's like contextually, I enjoy it while I'm playing the game, but when I'm actually just listening to it without the game, it's like,
What the fuck is this?
what is this? I would never listen to this.
Because you've got the references of the game in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people love the Hotline Miami
It's
soundtrack,
pretty good, yeah.
and it's just not my thing. But when I'm playing it, it feels right.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also the new Portal song because of the Lego thing.
I've still not listened to it.
No.
Apparently, it's got spoilers in it.
Oh,
but I wasn't really listening to it that much.
I know I
Spoiler,
would listen to it lots because I love
spoilers
the
for a
original.
Lego game. There can't be that much to
Well,
it.
yeah. I mean, it's pretty vague. I read the lyrics and I was like, I have no idea what this is about.
No.
So, it's pretty good.
Another small item of news that they've announced a Mass Effect ride at California's Great America.
I did
What?
not know this.
It's going to be using 3D. It's basically,
What the fuck?
I don't think it's like a proper roller coaster. It's one of those things where you get in, and then you have like
Right.
massive 3D screen in front of
The
you.
motion simulator.
Yeah, but they're also talking about live action actors coming in, and like that could be really cool.
It could be.
Um,
It could also be terrible.
It could be really cheesy and awful.
Yeah.
That I think will still be a couple of years away at least. But
Oh, man.
I picture that as maybe being a tie-in for Andromeda, the new Mass Effect.
Oh, okay.
So that could be really cool as well.
Well, because they're bringing the Mako back.
I like everyone bitches about the Mako. See, when I could jump rockets. So Matt, you won't have played it yet.
Let me guess. Is this when you're exploring planets? You've got an 8-wheelered
Yes.
tank thing, and it's called the Mako.
Yeah,
And it's a bit unwieldy.
a little bit at
Yeah,
first.
I only know it because my flatmate at the time was playing it, doing a lot of just. It looked very dull driving around.
Yeah.
It's not the best, but it's
The new one's
something.
supposed to be snazzy. Like a mixture between the Mako and the thing that you drive in one of the DLCs for Mass Effect 2.
okay.
Where
Is that
it's
the
like
thing
a
that hovers?
hovercraft, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. So I'd briefly spoken to Matt about this today. I don't know if you got a chance to see it, Alice. I know you're not a Call of Duty fan. But they had basically, as we get closer to Christmas, and basically when everyone sells their games, like everyone's trying to raise hype for their game. So the Call of Duty Twitter account changed their account to be called Current Events Aggregate, and on September 29th they spawned their Twitter, basically trying to appear like a legitimate news station.
Oh, like what BioWare did for Mass Effect 3 launch, where it was Alliance News, and basically one of the characters gets killed off on Twitter.
Ah, right, okay. Yeah, but in this case, because it's quasi-futuristic, but not that far in the future, it looked legit.
Alright, okay.
So this account has 2.8 million followers, and over the course of the day, like it started off with, there has been an explosion in like the Northern Marina in Singapore, and then that's been retweeted like a couple of
Right,
hundred
okay.
times, and eventually it works up to the point where they're like police are turning away traffic. There is now a quarantine zone for 30 miles around Singapore
Right, okay.
because it was like a biohazard. I just I can't fathom how bad an idea this is, because people on the internet will believe anything.
Well, yeah.
And even though it's at Call of Duty, some people will just read it and go, holy shit, I better tell everyone I know about this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be at the forefront of the news,
Yeah.
giving the information, especially if it's morbid. They want to be the people sharing it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's only going to go war of the worlds
So-
very quickly.
So at the end of it, this all took place on September the 29th over the course of the day. At the very end, they were like, this is a glimpse of the future, the near future in Call of Duty Black Ops 3.
Alright, okay.
And then they changed it back to Call of Duty.
See, I don't mind Call of Duty, but that's because I have fond memories of playing like the older ones and the co-op and stuff.
Mhm.
Like I really want the fridge that you get with the pre-order.
Oh yeah, the Juggernog.
Because that looks amazing.
Well, I think we've spoken about how good the Spec Ops.
I love this multiplayer element of that
Yeah.
game. It's my favourite part.
Spec Ops was always
It's
really good fun.
But then that's purely because it's not against other players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the fact that it's co-op, like it used to be, both sitting in the same room, split screen.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's something you'll never beat with online. I love online playing, of course, but co-op games are great.
Yeah, Keith and I still play split screen on like the original Black Ops or whatever.
Yeah.
Great.
World at War.
What this really reminded me of was Orson Welles' War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
Like, obviously back then you could actually, well, this sounds a bit naive, but you could believe to some extent what you heard on the radio, or at least most people did. Whereas nowadays on Twitter, like, people will just spam just nonsense.
Yeah.
And you all, like, I don't know, like,
Well, there was an authority associated with it back then.
yeah. I mean,
the Mass Effect one was just about Reapers, so no one's going to believe that.
I mean, in the case of War of the Worlds, for those who don't know, it was basically a radio drama during the 50s, I think. I'm pretty sure it was the 50s, where
Let's go with that.
where Orson Welles was hosting a radio show, and essentially they would have normal music, and then they would have, like, we come away from this now to give you this breaking news bulletin. That's essentially about Martians landing in the middle of like the middle of a field in the middle of America.
Everyone freaked the fuck out.
Yeah, and essentially it caused mass hysteria, and Orson Welles was arrested for it.
Matt, you must have remembered that.
Oh, that's funny. Actually, I did see a TV show about it not long ago, although I didn't expect you to go into this much detail. So
About the radio show itself.
About the radio show itself. Something about even the actors were saying, this is drivel. I think, I could be wrong. And just not really happy with it at all.
Yeah.
And then them getting so many phone calls saying, you know, people are going crazy wondering what's going on, and so I believe they wanted to shut it down, but Orson Welles was basically stopping them.
This
from
is
doing
gold.
anything.
Yeah.
Yes, to carry on.
Yeah.
I could be mistaken, but that's what I believe. And yeah, it's gone down in history as
Yeah. I mean, it makes me think of other massive marketing fails that the games industry has had. I thought that might be an interesting one for the next episode. But the gaming industry is often off when it comes to tasteful marketing, you could say.
It's like that game that I was following on Steam, and like I wanted to buy it, but it didn't have the option to play as a female character yet. So I was like, okay, well, once they add that, because I know they're planning to, I'll buy it. And then they added it with the friggin' most creepy announcement that I've ever read.
Oh.
I think, yeah, I mentioned this before.
Yeah.
And basically, the announcement started with, "The ladies are here, be gentle with them, winky face." And I was like, unsubscribe.
Yeah.
Don't,
Jeez.
yep, nope, not giving you my money.
It
Sorry.
is weird how some people just don't get it.
I mean, I was quite surprised, and pleasantly surprised to see so many comments saying, "What?
Yeah.
Why did you have to? What?
Why did you make it weird? Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd think someone who, I would assume that's a marketing, it has to go at least through a marketing
Yeah.
person.
I think
before it gets to
I
the
think a
public.
lot of them will hire marketing companies to do it. Like, at least the bigger studios will.
It's just awful."
You've got to have, if your job in any way relates to the public, you have to think through what you're saying.
Yeah,
It's
like
madness.
I've occasionally had to post to our community just being like, this is happening.
Yeah.
It'll be fixed in like an hour. But even then, I get someone to like read it over my shoulder, and I think, how could this possibly be misconstrued?
Mhm.
Because some people will choose to like not take it properly, whereas some people, might just not be able to understand it. But yeah,
I guess people might not read the announcements on Steam that often.
I suppose.
Yes, but you're still choosing to put it out there.
Yeah.
You've made it visible to the entire public that have that.
I know, but the sort of people that say things like that don't really care if they're creepy.
Well, no, I
That's
think
the
it's more they
problem.
don't see that as creepy, and that's totally fair enough. Some people, everyone has different standards.
Yeah.
You just have to be aware if you're talking to the public.
Yeah.
You're not just speaking to people that's just like you and have your views. They don't know your views. You have to.
It's not a case of being politically correct or not.
No,
it's just
no,
a case
no.
of knowing your audience.
Yeah.
And gamers, so
Yeah. So the last big piece of news is that the Voice Actors Guild in America are threatening to go on strike.
Did they not already go on strike a while ago?
I don't recall that happening, but they've been basically threatening to do it now. I looked into it, and there's kind of two different. Well, obviously, there's two sides to it. There's a lot of fans who are opposed to it because they think that if the actors should get these kind of benefits, why aren't the production teams that work crunch for like massive hours for months on end getting that as well? And then I read an interview with Will Wheaton, of all people, who does quite a lot of voice acting in games, who was talking about how the actual the contracts were written up in 1995. They're really outdated because this is when voice actors would maybe come in and do a couple of hours and then go home. Whereas nowadays, like, I think it's like over 30,000 lines of dialogue in the new Fallout that are spoken. I mean, it's gone up a lot because now we have a voiced main character, and they would have had to have recorded a male voice and a female voice.
And regardless, games evolve, so should contracts. Actually,
yeah. But basically, they really seem like, compared to what you would expect an actor to get in their contract, voice actors get treated pretty poorly. But like, there's a few things. So at the moment, if they, during the course of their time in the booth, like, step away to maybe check their phone or something, they can actually be fined for doing that
because it's taking time away from the recording.
Yeah.
Wow.
It seems very. Part of me wonders how much of these points are being pushed to make a point, and how many of them are things that have actually happened to actors.
Yeah, who has actually enforced that? Because as you say, if this was written up in 95...
But I think it's more the case that the studios always have a lot of leverage over the people working for them.
Yeah,
and as people who work on games ourselves, you know, it's always nice to see a studio that treats its staff very well, which I think we have.
Absolutely.
But you can understand that maybe big studios that are all about that bottom line, that are really spending a lot of money on these actors, are really very reluctant to give them any more rights.
Well, yeah, we know a studio that just treats employees like numbers.
Yeah, that's true. But
regardless of even if they do enforce these archaic rules, if you agree with them, then you're crazy. If you don't, well, then there's no harm in changing them, changing the contract.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is where strike comes in.
Yeah.
So there's things
Why
like
would anyone not want to do this though?
Well, there's things like royalties, for example. Basically, I think it's if it sells over 2 million units, they want royalties for the voice actors. I think a lot of the arguments against that are that a lot of studios will say it's not like a movie where if you stick like a massive actor in the leading role, that'll sell a movie. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you put Jennifer Hale or Nolan North as a voice actor in a game, not that many people are going to be like, oh, I've got to play it because it's got them in it, if you like.
You see, I can understand what you're saying, but I also imagine that, okay, maybe a smaller audience, that some people would, dedicated fans, would actually like it for those reasons.
When I replay Dragon Age 2, I spend like half of my playtime just pressing A on Fenris just to hear Gideon ever I speak.
That's your own issue, and the fact that you can't say that without giggling.
Who's this?
He does like voice acting in like every game ever, but he's the moody elf in Dragon Age 2 who I always inevitably romance.
Shocker.
Yeah.
So yeah, he just says loads of nice things if you keep pressing A. Don't judge me. Okay?
It's just a self-esteem boost. You just keep saying nice things.
Look, okay, Keith played Inquisition and romanced Cassandra and then complained to me that you only see her boobs. So
wow.
If I'm creepy, what does that make
I
him?
love that you're just trying to instantly look, my boyfriend did this.
Yeah. I'm not the worst one.
I'm not as creepy as my boyfriend.
Wow, good justification. Sorry, Keith.
Don't judge me.
Yeah, name dropped as well. It's funny. He lives at this address.
Shut up.
Was there any? Have you guys been playing anything cool recently?
Well, I've been trying to play WildStar since it went free to play, but I'm just perpetually in a queue because everyone's trying to play it.
Okay.
What's WildStar? Have I heard of this?
It's an MMO. The art style is kind of Jack and Daxter-y.
Okay, I think I know that. Yeah.
And basically, there's like two factions fighting over a planet. So you pick like a race, but it's all like spacey, and you explore. And instead of like the standard MMO combat where you just click on something and hit it, like you have to actually aim. Like you have a gun and you have to like point in the right direction and run around and dodge.
So
Otherwise
there's an element of skill involved.
Yeah, like you actually have to do stuff rather than just press 1.
Just click it.
3, 1.
So if there's a queue, I presume it's really popular then.
Yeah, well, it's just gone free to play.
Oh, okay. So everyone's finding out.
Like,
what the heck?
I tried it 2 days ago, and then I created my character, clicked create, and then it didn't do anything for like I went away and watched Netflix, and I came back like 3 hours later, and still nothing had happened. It still had a loading icon.
Wow.
And then last night I tried it again, and I actually got into a server, but it was like, okay, so you're this position in the queue, you'll probably get in like 4 hours, and I was like,
Jesus. Did
Never
they at least
mind.
give you music?
no.
Like, do. This careless whisper playing. You'll
You've been
always
listening
associate
to the guy
it.
outside for too much.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Cool, Matt. If you've been playing a lot of Spider-Man.
Yeah. Well, and Mad Max. Let's
Okay.
not take this away. You're giving
Well,
me
no,
grief.
you've been playing a lot of Amazing Spider-Man and enough Mad Max to say, and I've played some Mad Max too.
And you've been not playing the games that lovely people buy for you for your birthday, Matthew.
Wow. Wow. I get one gift, and I'm mid playing 2 games that I'm already getting grief for, and then I get told off for not installing and playing the third. I'll get to Black Flag, and thank you so much for the gift. That's a really cool gift. But yeah, I have been playing Mad Max quite a lot. It's cool. I've realised that there's no denying it. I'm trying to 100% that game because I'm still on the first guy's house you go to, and upgrading it. But I can't move on because there's still loads of the tiny little camps that you've got to get rid of.
So if you don't get rid of them, can you not come back?
No, you absolutely can, I'm sure.
Right, okay.
But I refuse to move on.
Okay.
And the first camp you go to is a guy called Jeet, and you befriend him, and one of the first things is he wants gunpowder to make his own weapons and things like that, and it's cool. And you just develop the more items you can level up his camp, and it will actually change the look of the place. It's really cool. And I've not even finished the first guy because I'm too busy getting every single camp, and some of the camps are just a bit of scrap metal and 4 guys that you've got to punch in the face. But I will do that with every single one.
4 guys that you've got to wait until they attack you, and then you can counter.
Oh, that's how you fight in these games.
No, that's how you fight in
No,
these
that's how
games.
this mechanic wants you to. You press Y, then X, and wait for them because I'm a nice guy.
It's all based
I
on
only-
the Batman counter system.
I only retaliate. Exactly. If they have to come
Your
at
Honour.
me, and then when they throw a punch, firstly, I've got to freeze the game, take a beautiful position screenshot, and then put it up to Flickr.
Is that why it's actually taken so long?
Oh my god, I can't tell you how long I've just spent in frozen time arranging the camera angle and the FOV. But that's a great thing. I've actually found a Google Drive document that allows you to take even better screenshots. So I'll be doing that. But yeah, aside from Mad Max, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, I just wanted a classic Spider-Man game. I wanted to just chill out and web sling around the city and not actually... I didn't care about progressing the game, but you are completely made to progress the game because there's always little fisticuff fights starting around the city, and if you don't go for them, they make you look like a bad guy and everyone hates you. So
Well, stop being a shit superhero.
but all I want to do is web sling around the city. I should just take off my Spider-Man outfit so nobody knows it's me and just go around.
In a fashion,
Yeah.
like a fashion show.
It's like,
You really have turned
that
it into the-
Spider-Man? No, he's not wearing his outfit.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, that's the great thing.
Is that his spider wang?
There's you can unlock costumes, and so that instantly got me hooked because I love Spider-Man anyway.
Is this the game where you actually like go to a comic book store and it's Stan Lee?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
Stan's Comics.
Yeah.
No, what am I talking about? the comic stand,
Yes.
and the D
Yes.
flickers on and off, so it's comic stand.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Comic
There's actually an
Sans.
arcade machine in the comic stand that's a mini game that I assume when you complete it you get a costume. But the only bad thing is you don't get the classic Scarlet Spider costume. I would love that, but it's not happening. You do get Miles Morales costume. That's the first one you unlock, which is the black with the red detail on top, which is gorgeous. So I just mainly do that and web around. But I'm trying to batter through the storyline so I can get all the costumes.
All the unlocks.
Yeah, but it's really fun, and it comes from I forget what it was called, but there was a GameCube Spider-Man game that was fantastic. It had a mini game where you delivered pizzas, and you couldn't roll over too many times without ruining the pizza, so you had to take it really calm.
Is that
but
from the
fast.
the older Spider-Man games?
I don't know.
I remember playing something like that.
It was my friend that owned it.
It was
so
a
I
lot
never
better
knew.
than having to save the balloons. There was always one where you'd hear a child cry, and then you'd have to save a bloody balloon and bring it back
I
to
don't know
the
if it was
kid.
that. I know that one of the attack moves was kind of like Liu Kang's Mortal Kombat Hurricane Kick thing.
Okay.
It was really cool. I enjoyed that game a lot years ago, and I just thought, you know what, if I see Spider-Man for cheap, and I
You
did,
pick it
it's
up.
at a pretty good price, so I just got it. That's pretty much what I've been playing.
Cool. Well, speaking of Marvel superheroes, we'll move it on to the movies and TV section. I've been watching Daredevil on Netflix. It really deserves the praise that it's been getting.
Really?
It is it is an 18. It is not for kids. I guess minor spoilers. Someone has their head taken clean off, and it's not. Well, I say clean off. Someone has their head taken off, and it's brutal. It's really, really nasty. But
Wow.
it's like really good performances. Rosario Dawson's in it. She's in Clerks. She's the kind of love interest. Sorry, Clerks 2. She's the love interest.
Oh yeah, I know her.
She's also been in Sin City as well.
Cool.
Vincent D'Onofrio plays the Kingpin,
Yeah.
and he is terrifyingly calm most
And is
of
he
the time.
huge?
He's not huge.
Because I'm thinking of the classic Spider-Man cartoon
Yeah.
Kingpin.
He is imposing.
Okay.
But yeah, it's mostly the fact that he's so reserved and quiet, and then you occasionally see the rage, which is really quite something.
Oh yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio is an amazing actor.
Yeah, he's been really, really good in it. I'm only 4 episodes in, but I can't wait to watch the rest of it because it's been fantastic. At the moment, Daredevil is still a guy in basically he's dressed like Archer. He's just wearing like a black turtleneck,
Okay.
black slacks, and he's wearing like a bandana over his eyes.
But how does he?
It's on my list to watch, but I keep putting it off to watch shit like Grimm. So.
I heard on that front that one of the guys to do with the MCU, the cinematic universe, we're talking about the more movies that are coming out, and they're going to start tying into the TV shows and things like that, and they really respect the actors and things, especially Daredevil. So it'd be cool if
they
that
talk
tied in
about
properly.
the incident. Basically, it takes, like the comic books, it's in Hell's Kitchen in New York. Daredevil is one of the more famous, what they refer to as street level Marvel superheroes, and the guys that don't necessarily have superpowers, even though Daredevil definitely has superhuman powers.
Right.
But they're not invulnerable. They can't fly or anything like that. He just basically has the hearing and smell, like ability to smell of a dog.
Well, I was going to say, it reminds me of like the Falcon kind of character.
It's
But he can fly.
it
But
is
that's
funny.
all he can do.
It's funny because it takes you don't really realise that you're watching a Marvel thing, and that I mean that in a good way.
Okay.
But you find yourself being like, wait, there's no way he could do that. Like, I don't care how much you've trained. There's no. Wait, it's a Marvel. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I'll let it go.
Cool.
But the one criticism I would have for it is that they've clearly made a kind of creative decision to make it very dark. It's actually quite hard to see a lot of what's going on, especially in the fight scenes. And part of me imagines that they've done that on purpose. Like, it's to kind of emulate that he is having a hard time maybe visualizing what's going on. And at the moment, I'm only 4 episodes in, and he's still a bit sloppy. He's still getting stabbed from time to time and like getting punched. Yeah, and like I say, he's still wearing basically pajamas. So yeah, but I'm really looking forward to seeing where they take it, because the tone of the show is brilliant. Like I say, people getting their heads taken off is not
Your kind of show.
It's not what you would see in the Avengers.
No, that's true.
But yeah, sorry, I was briefly alluding to this incident. So it takes place in Hell's Kitchen, in New York, and the incident is the end of the first Avengers.
Oh, okay.
So basically, when the city gets leveled,
And the portal to the other universe opens.
yeah, so it all takes place amongst that. It's really cool.
Cool.
In terms of movies, Matt, you saw The Martian this week.
I did. Saw it on early release, which was nice.
You really, really enjoyed it. You've read the book as well.
I have. It's great. It's a lovely adaptation. I think the book, well, the audio book's about 11 hours long. I just happened to notice it in my iTunes that it is 11 hours long. So obviously, just like any story, which that's actually a short story comparatively to other stories. But there's a whole lot of things that go on. And Andy Weir, the writer, I think, if I'm correct, in an interview with him, they talk about when he first published this, before it was published itself, it was on a blog, and he would update chapters and things, and it had a big following from scientists and smart people. And
yeah, because they actually have worked a story around commonly held scientific
he tried to make
beliefs.
things as real as possible.
Yeah.
Like he actually is open about the fact that he was creative with spacesuits, for example, because you do not have that much manoeuvrability in a spacesuit currently.
Yeah.
But he's assuming by the time we get to Mars, we'll have developed suits that allow that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a fundamental point of potatoes in the movie and in the story. So
I would have loved it if we hadn't even noticed and you'd had a stroke. And now when you try and say one word, you just say potatoes.
No. Potatoes are a big part of it, and in a really good way as well. And I know I just sound mad saying this now. Now you've got me thinking them wrong.
And I can't wait to see potatoes. Potatoes.
So to allow this to happen, there had to be a reason why they had that. So Andy Weir had to figure out when they would launch.
A potato.
When they would have launched the mission. So he was on Mars at the certain date that they would have been given potatoes for, because normally it would all be in ration packs, powdered stuff.
Okay.
It's very cool.
What?
He grows potatoes.
Yeah, the whole thing is about subsisting on Mars.
Exactly.
It's not
So
enough
how
to
do you get
survive.
potatoes on Mars.
Yeah.
There had to be a reason that NASA gave them real potatoes for him to use. So he had to figure out when they would have launched. So by the time they get to Mars, 9 months later or whatever, it would be Thanksgiving, and that's why they gave them potatoes. Yada yada. It's cool. Things like that. Just that's just the kind of detail he goes to, and he tried to be as accurate as possible with everything he did. And it's a great I was going to say refreshing story, but it's just I like the accurate sciencey. I wouldn't know if it was accurate or not, but it feels it, and the movie does it justice. There's, as I said, long book. Well, it's an 11-hour audiobook. It's not a long book, but you can't get all of that info into a 2-hour movie.
Mm-hmm.
But they do it really well. There is parts where you're just like, wait. He did this part really quickly. Although, how would that translate into a movie? I think I've got over book translations into movies quite a lot by just remembering that it's a filmmaker's vision of that story. It's not the actual story itself. You cannot do all 7 Harry Potters justice, even in 8 movies. Because I know those books back to front, and I'm not happy with the movies. But then you just kind of go, well, you can't help that. And it's the same with The Martian. There's very cool. There's a couple of elements that are added that are great, and the parts they miss out, you can understand.
Look at how long the extended editions of the Lord of the Rings movies are.
Still not seen them. I want to, but I don't have a day solid to give to that.
Well, when the third Hobbit film came out, Keith and I went and watched the trilogy.
Wow.
In the cinema, and I was like, I thought I was going to die. We got home at 4 in the morning, and I was like, why did we do this to ourselves? And there was a guy sat in the row behind us singing all of the songs all the way through, and
I can't
someone
stand
was
that.
going to die
I
in
can't
that
stand
situation.
noise.
I just imagine Keith having to take all the sharp things off of you. Like you're whittling down your phone, just jam it in some guy's neck.
A final point, though, I'll make about The Martian is all of the actors are stunning. They're great, and they're almost in it as much as the main character, Watney. You see them so much. It's a great story with multiple aspects. It's very, very entertaining.
That's good. That's good to hear. Have you been watching or going to see anything?
Going to see Macbeth on Sunday because it looks amazing. Although, yeah, the Scottish accent thing is worrying. So
I mean, Fassbender's part German, part Irish.
yeah, so he should be able to pull it off, right?
Mm.
However, his French wife,
Marion Cointreau.
Quattro. Marianne, get to the... No, I'm not going to say it.
No,
but
Chopper, right?
the new season of
You're
American
gonna
Horror
say
Story
Chopper.
starts soon.
Yes.
Okay,
The new season of what, sorry?
American Horror Story.
Yeah.
I have seen
So
the
I'm
adverts
super
for that.
excited for that.
I'm not.
But-
I'm not.
I've mainly been looking forward to this moment because one of my friends is terrified of clowns, and I used his Netflix account to watch a few episodes, and that season with the clown is coming to Netflix soon, so he's going to get recommended it, and it's going to be great because he's going to shit himself.
That's the season I've not watched. The first few episodes where you see the start of the story of the clown.
Yeah.
He is terrifying.
He's terrifying, but his story is like super sad, which makes you not be scared of him anymore, really.
I've seen the caravan with the people. Like, I'm still scared of him. I still
But
wouldn't
he
want to
just
go near
wants
him.
to entertain them.
I
He's
know,
doing a show for them.
Is he a little deranged?
Well, yeah, like his story is that he...
Hey, whoa!
Yeah.
I've not seen it. No, let's not do this.
Okay.
It was evident from the episodes I have seen that
Yeah, he's
one of
not
the
quite right.
characters that actually watches his little bit of magic. He's like, cool, you're paying attention, but you kind of get the impression she's as understandably that she is only doing this to try and get out.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And he's not going to like that.
Oh yeah, he's not quite right. It's kind of like a King Kong kind of situation,
Right, okay, cool.
I guess.
I look forward to seeing him climb the Empire State Building.
His introduction is like a couple wake up and
Yeah.
the lady looks over and he's just smiling while he's stabbing
Yeah.
her boyfriend with
He's
pair
a
of
really
scissors.
good character, and
It's American Horror Story. It is fun. Yeah.
Okay. So we spoke about The Martian. It would be a bit strange if we spoke about science fiction and didn't actually speak about the water that has been discovered on Mars.
or is it war? Dun dun dun.
So-
yes, it is.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Well, I
So
would imagine so. NASA aren't gonna.
it's not just ice; it's actually flowing water.
Which means that we now give a shit about it, right?
Yeah.
Because
Well, no, we
flowing
cared
water
when
is
it was
better.
ice as well.
Yeah, no, but flowing water is better.
I think that's better in the case of potential life, even though it's
Yes.
not all year round flowing water either. It's only in the summer months.
Yes.
How long before Nestle tap it and charge £800 a bottle?
Well said.
That's already been a thing on the internet.
Really, that
Yeah.
Nestle are
Like a
specifically
space-
Nestle.
A rocket with the Nestle logo on it, just like bye.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, so I thought that was really cool.
It's great.
It's another potential step forward.
Anything that pushes our focus back onto getting out there, but I'm part of the crew that are saying
You're part of the crew?
no.
Oh my
not
god.
that. They're part of the crew that are saying things, not doing. That are saying let's go back to the moon instead. I don't know why. Things like The Martian gives an example of what goes wrong when you need to get back to Mars and it's 9 months away. Or
So does Total Recall.
well, that's good, but come on, Total Recall, you can't compare them. I love Total Recall, don't get me wrong, the first one. But we need to practice all of this kind of thing on the moon, and it's right there, 250,000 miles, or how many million? I don't even know. Lots, about at least 3.
Lots of
pure
millions.
hundreds.
Several millions.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was really cool. We'll round out this episode with one that's kind of quasi-science. It's kind of social science. So we actually both came to this article in the last 24 hours. There's an app called People, that's being suggested, and that's P-E-E-P-L-E. And it's been described as Yelp for people. And it's basically a case of, if one of your friends downloads it, it will start like a database that will include all of their friends.
Oh, does it?
So
I didn't
you
know that.
automatically are an option.
No, I thought it was just you had
You
to
don't
write a
have
report
to.
on somebody.
You don't have to opt in.
Yeah.
Oh no, that. But I thought it would only you would only be generated. Yes, you're only generated in the app if you know their phone number. Oh God, does that mean it is an auto thing when you download the app?
Yeah.
But Facebook does this anyway.
Yeah.
People who don't have Facebook have Facebook accounts.
What?
Yeah, it's like shadow accounts. Like they know you exist even if
Yeah.
you don't have
It's
it.
very
That's
weird and
creepy.
creepy. Yeah.
That shouldn't be.
So basically, it's the idea that if someone, they say they suggest that it's going to be used for things like making friends or like with your work, and people can view how good a person you are. But let's face it, it's
People
the
are
internet.
shit. People are dicks.
Yes.
Yeah. So what I can see is jilted exes.
Yeah.
You
This
know,
was exactly where my mind went. That's
That's-
it's scary.
yeah, it's like who are the people with the most venom, and it'll be like exes
Yeah.
or
Psycho exes.
or people who fired you or
But
have
I mean,
been
the good
fired
thing
by
is
you.
that shit people are just going to be sharing information with shit people, so
Yes,
you won't
exactly.
really care anyway.
Oh, you're on people. Cool. I don't want to know you.
But I'm just going to say, like, when I first heard about this, it was because it was trending on Twitter, and because of the way that it's spelt, my mind immediately jumped to thinking that it was like Tinder, but for people who want to pee on
Who
people.
liked water sports? Wow.
I was like, wait, what?
I think that says a fair bit about you that your head
Yeah,
jumped.
I know. I was
there.
worried about myself. Trust me. I was like, wait, surely not. And then I clicked on it, and I was like,
Of course you did.
This
Because
is
you
worse.
thought it was that. That's just yeah. No, I read.
I mean, technically, it's
Wait,
not
what?
people wanting to pee on people. It's people who want to shit on other people.
Boom, boom.
I see what you did there.
I read, the article I read today anyway, but that brought it to my attention. Just the lady whose idea or in charge of it or whatever.
Yeah, I saw this.
And so it's been valued over $7 million already, and there's a lot of. Well, she's trying to defend it, obviously, and you can. I think she didn't make it clear enough, or she backtracked and said you actually can complain about something said about you if it's malicious and things. And also, if you don't opt in, people can only report nice things about you.
Right. Okay.
So I'm never going to go near it. I know that I'm assuming people want to, but I do have.
I mean, I would think about it.
Everyone in their life has met people that they've,
If you ever break up with this podcast, like
Yeah.
we're all getting together to.
We've
like,
all got crazy. Well, a lot of us have.
You'll
crazy
never work
exes.
on this town again.
No. A lot of people have crazy exes and horrible. Know that they have spouted some horrible, ridiculous lies about you. And personally, I'm the kind of person, if that's done, I just don't give it the time of day. But if it's online,
You just change your name, address.
no, I just ignore it, and it's fine because I know that they're mental, and if anyone wants to believe them, that's their lookout. But if it's someone putting it online that strangers could somehow see it, and they don't know the truth,
Yeah.
like I would assume friends of people know that when that's their psycho ex saying that.
Yeah.
The internet doesn't have that caveat of they did date and
It didn't end well.
didn't end exactly.
Yeah.
But the funniest part about this whole thing is the fact that the woman who made it was then seen posting on Facebook asking how you can remove comments because people were like saying on the Facebook page like, this is horrible, why are you doing this?
Wow.
And she
So
was
she
then
doesn't even
wanting
know how
to
to do that.
censor things. Yeah, it's like, what a crazy person. She is a crazy person.
She just justified it by saying
And
it's
now-
so I can
yeah.
see who what is it? Who is I'm sending my kids out to, be looked after by or whatever, something like
Yeah.
that. Pulling the classic, my kids are out there and there's
Yeah.
paedophiles in the world.
Won't you think of the children?
Yeah.
Basically, she's a crazy person and she's made an app for crazy people,
Yes. That
So-
sums it up.
which is going to make a lot of money.
So yeah. So until the next time, you can find us all on People. No, you can find us at splittingpixels.info. We'll have the blog up there hopefully fairly soon. Alice is going to be taking over duties for the blog
Yeah.
until Sophia gets
So,
back.
it's just going to be like loads of pictures of Tom Hiddleston.
If a blog could be scrolled in blood, it would be that. So, until then, thank you very much for listening, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bye.